Hi guys, and welcome to this first video on our Practice Equip series. I'm really excited. I've been looking forward so much to getting this series going. We will be covering a couple of very important points throughout the next 3 videos, and I really trust that you're as excited about this as I am. There's a couple of very real problems in the world at the moment, and unfortunately optometry has not been excluded from that. The way that we practice, deal with our patients, and market our practices has exponentially changed in a very short period of time. One of the biggest things I hear ECPs or eye care providers say at the moment is that there is just no one coming into my store. And when they are there, the spending power has decreased exponentially. With this COVID crisis internationally, we have really seen how an epidemic like this has made us all think twice about the way that we run our practices. So come along this journey with me. Let's get into this first training video and let us help equip you to build a very successful business in the midst of a global pandemic. If you are watching this course right now and the question you're asking yourself is, why should I be doing this? My answer to that is because you can really not afford not to. And let me show you why. As I said before, as I ran a bit of a poll the other day and I tried to figure out what a lot of the challenges are that our profession is facing at the moment. Predominantly, the one thing that came out highest was the fact that you as eye care providers were saying that patients just don't have the money to spend. The next biggest problem was the fact that there was no patients in office. And then obviously the issue about competitor pricing. We are all dealing with this no charge eye test problem in the industry. And this is really affecting where patients will go when they are due for their next test. Then my next question was, what is the biggest thing that you are concerned about, that you are worried about, that you are fearful of? And in this case, the biggest problem was the fact that the public always goes and compares and looks for the best deal. Now, I don't always agree with this, and I think that is the perception that we are getting purely because patients are not comparing value with value. And that is because we are not educating them on what that value is supposed to be looking like. This is one of the things that we are going to really talk about during this Equip series. Then the other thing that came out is the fact that you guys were saying is that firstly, I can't afford to do any marketing, or the fact that as medical professionals, the marketing is just not on the top of our priority list. I mean, we were not taught these things. This is not part of our education system. So I know for myself, I was pretty bad at this stuff. So this is why a Equip series like this is so important, because we want to give you tools and resources that's actually going to make you do this a lot easier than you think. And it's really not going to cost you that much. There's a few things that you can really do that is for free. And then there's other things that you can spend your money on that is really going to give you the return on investment. Because a lot of us are still spending our money in the wrong places. So in this first part of this Equip series, I want to show you how I was able to build a practice that was unaffected by patient spending power and competitor pricing. And guys, it's really not as hard as you think it is. There are just a couple of simple, easy things that you need to put into place, and we are going to show you exactly how to do that. Now, all of this started for me with a huge wake-up call, and it made me stop and think, what am I missing? For me, I've run a practice for 12 years now, and things have always been pretty stable, and then obviously COVID hit. And with the challenges COVID brought into the system, a lot of things shifted. And I was not able to shift alongside it. I didn't know how. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to keep my head above water. And a few things started popping up. The struggle was very real. Firstly, we experienced empty offices. Obviously, COVID brought about lockdown, which made our offices close down for an extended period of time. But after that, people were very scared. People did not want to come into the office. And we realized that we were going to have to shift. We were going to have to make a big change to be able to still reach our patients. The second problem was the lack of patient spending power. COVID brought about a lot of retrenchments, a lot of salary problems, people struggling right across the world. How do you actually go about dealing with those issues, still servicing your patients, but still being able to be affordable without going to the extreme of doing no charge eye tests and all of those things, which are a problem in the industry? It's also not good for business because there's no money coming in. Then obviously the third problem was the competitor markdowns. Our industry experiences great challenges in this area, and I have heard practitioners go as far as saying, well, I'm just going to have to mark this down by 70% or give this away for free just to get patients into my office. And that is really not a solution. That is actually really quite a bad thing to do. The value that is lost in a patient's mind by doing that is detrimental for your business. And I know it doesn't look like that in the short term, but that is really what happens in the long term. So moving your business into a space where you are competing with markdowns of competitors is not where you want to be. And then the last challenge was also the staff and the HR problems. Myself, I lost 2/3 of my practice complement between November and January of this year. The stress that brought about was unreal. The effect that had on my patient care was immense. My systems fell apart and suddenly I had to do everything, which I'm completely incapable of doing. But then I realized most practices actually run that way. Most practice owners try and do everything themselves in spite of the fact that they might have a staff member or team members in place that can actually do that for them. And that just made me think, how are we going to shift? How am I able to shift my practice? I need to get in new staff members. How am I going to retrain them, reshift everything so that these things, these 4 points, stop being such a big, real issue in my business? These 4 points is a reality for all of us, and it has been a reality for a long time for most practices. But then suddenly, I found the solution. This is such a cliche, but it's very much the truth. It's time that we start working smarter and not harder. It's time that we utilize the resources and the people around us to make our businesses as successful as they can be. Now, the solutions came and found me. Godly intervention and timing is something that I strongly believe in, and I was very grateful for a couple of people who came across my way over the last year and a half. They were able to teach me and enlighten me in ways of business that I was not privy to before. And this is something that I really want to show you guys, and we want to share this with you. We want to break this open for you so that we can all be successful. Because when we are successful, the industry is successful. One of the first things I learned is how to better incorporate in-office marketing tools into my practice. This was a mind-blowing eye-opener. And again, it's really that simple, that it's just changing the way we speak, changing the way we do things, changing what we display, and how that makes a different impression on our patients and the value added to that patient's mind. The second thing was going out and setting up a successful referral network. Very few practitioners spend time on this, and this is actually incredibly important. When we work together in a referral network, you are guaranteed to have patients come through your door. Because if you are quiet, then they might not be, and any one of the other medical professionals might then refer back to you. This is a solid, and this is something that warrants the time spent on it. And then the third thing was growing an online presence and reviews. I've been going through the internet and looking at so many practices and how few practices in the world has got this going. And when we talk about online presence, we're not talking about marketing. We're not talking about sales pitches. We're talking about real people servicing real people. And that is what the world wants. The world wants to see authenticity, and they want to see what makes you different from the next person. That is what the online presence and the review system is all about. Because if they feel they know you, even before they've even seen you, you are guaranteed that they will walk into your store. And then the fourth thing was the utilization of software and apps that makes you stand out from the rest. The technology market has expanded exponentially, and there are such amazing things on the market. But optometry is stuck in the arc age. We are doing things the way we've always done them. And it's time that we start shifting our thought process and shifting the way that we do things, because we are going to become obsolete if we don't. Most patients are comfortable with technology. And when you actually present it to them in this way, it makes it fun and exciting for them. And again, it makes you stand out from the crowd. It was with these 4 solutions